So, one of the things which is sort of a really great unspoken truth about the Oakland Raiders, especially in the post ACDC area, not area, ACDC era, my apologies, is that for whatever reason, it seems like whenever the Raiders play a game, they either play in a way that their offense is just clicking and scoring tons of points, and Derek Carr is throwing for like 3 or 4 touchdowns, and Crabtree and Cooper getting like 100 yards apiece, and the run game is just awesome. But the defense is terrible, and we saw that in the New Orleans and Atlanta game. The flip side of that is, and we saw this plenty of times last year, there are games where the Raiders' defense is just absolutely killer, but for some reason the offense just sputters out. And I think a good example of that would be the games against Denver, where Khalil Mack had 5 sacks. The Raiders couldn't get anything going offensively, but they anchored down the D and they won the game. And I mean, there's been like maybe 2 or 3 games where the offense and defense were both awesome. There was a game against the Jets last year. I think the first game against the Chargers last year was kind of in the same boat. But regardless, it just seems like the Raiders have a really big problem merging a great offense with a great defense. It's like they're playing one or the other. Like they don't know you can have both in the same game. And the 17-10 win over the Titans, like I said, a win is a win. They're 2-1. It's the first time they've won the first 2 road games of the year since 2002, so I'm excited about all that. But you kind of see the problem, where the first half, was great. The Raiders were just going out there, shutting down Marcus Mariota. They were leading 17-3. That first half was great. That's what you want to see more of. Offense clicking, defense clicking. But even then, in the second half, where the Raiders just pretty much stopped playing offensively, the defense, to their credit, they held up. The first 2 games, the defense played terrible. But in this game, they actually kind of did their part. The opposing team didn't score 500 yards of offense for once. And in fact, there were no touchdowns thrown at all. There was 1 rushing touchdown by DeMarco Murray, who had way too many yards. But traditionally, stopping the run hasn't been a problem with the Raiders. I think it's probably just an aberration. But you know what? Our guys played tough. You saw Sean Smith and Reggie Nilsson, these hugely paid guys, go out there and actually earn their paycheck. It was great. And I was really impressed by watching Carl Joseph just come out there playing like he's in an arena game. Where they start off and they get like a 5-second head start. He was just going after Mariota. And Mariota, he was just crushed all day. We're finally seeing the Raiders kind of get some defense going. We're seeing sacks. That's what you want to see out of the Raiders defense. Now, I don't know what really happened with the Raiders offense in the second half. Maybe they just wanted to coast. But, they're just not getting it done. And I'm just trying to figure out what's going on there. Other things about the game. Derek Carr threw his first interception of the season. Not happy about that, but you know what? It happens. The run game, a really big emphasis on that. We saw our good buddy Latavius Murray go in there and get that huge 22-yard run for the first touchdown of the game. And we're seeing DeAndre Washington just rip off some huge yardage. I'm impressed by that. Jalen Richard continues to do his thing. Receiving, what can I say? Crabtree, Cooper, Roberts, Walford, incredible lineup. Even though Amari Cooper, he did drop that 1 pass, it would have been a first down, which probably would have gave the Raiders like cushion, for like a 24-10 win instead of a 17-10. But whatever, a win is a win. And it's a good game overall. It could have been better. Really, this game should have been like 31-10 Raiders or like 24-3. But the defense held up. It was a good test, and the Raiders D actually looks like they're alive now, and I'm happy about that. So next week we're going to Baltimore. They're undefeated, and this is a chance for the Raiders to go up 3-1, which they haven't done years and years, decades. Unfortunately, that is not hyperbole. And I think it's a pretty good matchup. The Raiders clearly shown themselves as being one of the best offenses in the league, going up against a team which is showing itself to be one of the best defenses. Should be pretty entertaining. And we'll see what happens. I think if the Raiders D can hold up against Joe Flacco and put some pressure on him, and the Raiders offense kind of get to go in and get the run game established, they can go in there and they can probably win this game. It's a pretty good possibility for a victory there, and I'm looking forward to it. So what more to say? Raiders 2-1, hard-fought 17-10 win over the Titans. Offense doing good for first half, need some work closing the gap. Defense finally looking like a defense. So maybe, there's hope after all. We might actually finish above 500 this year, which, as a Raiders fan, is like Christmas duct tape to Halloween, duct tape to Thanksgiving. All the awesomeness in the world combined. Here's rooting for it.